Hey everyone, my name is George Originales, and you are listening to Radio Faith, episode 24. This is episode 24. Don't get confused. We started a new mini series called Small Talk, Big Word, which those little 3 minute to 5 minute nuggets will be placed in between these big, longer conversations. But this is indeed episode 24. And I have on today's episode my good friend, Larry Lerma. Today, we dig deep. Larry opens up and shares some pain points in his life, some points of suffering and even questioning God. So if you find yourself in a season of maybe questioning God, then please listen to this testimony from Larry Lerma. So today we have on the show my friend Larry Lerma. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great this morning, George.
Excellent.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's an early morning, but it's a good morning, good day to start.
Yes, good morning.
So I've known you for, 5+, maybe. It's been a while. It's been a lot of years that you and I have known each other. A good friend of mine. Thank you for being on the show, and I just wanted to introduce you to the audience out there. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Born in Katy. I was born in Katy and came to Rosenberg, I guess, as when I was 1 year old. Been living here. I say to everybody, I'm born and raised in Rosenberg. So I've seen Rosenberg from a couple of lanes to now a 4-lane little town. So I didn't see the horse and carriage, but I was pretty close.
Yeah.
I've been married 28 years. I have one child. The Lord blessed us with her. For actually, we were married 20 years into our marriage before she came along. Tell you what, a lot of prayers with that, because we had 3 miscarriages within our marriage, and then the Lord blessed us with the land. So
That's amazing.
That's listen.
You and your wife are great people. I'm so glad to have met you and your wife and just had that relationship and built that relationship with you over the years. You mentioned Belen, and I do remember that you told us about that, and that was just an awesome story. And how, of course, I understand it's so exciting when anyone has a child, but definitely to know your story, and as you mentioned with the miscarriages and the excitement, plus the little bit of angst that came with that as well.
Yeah, let me tell you a real quick story about that. The land is again, we're married 20 years. Actually, we're married 28 years, and we bought a home. We looked at each other. I said, "Yeah, this is a nice home. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs." I said, "We're going to fill that home." She kind of looked at me and smiled. But the Lord blessed us with this home, and we were preparing, I guess, to start a family. Well, within that time frame, we had an empty house, and of course, we never closed our house. And when we bought this home, we asked the Lord, "This is your home, so you do as you will." So we had families that were, again, George, not all families are perfect. We have some families that they struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So we opened our home to families. We had friends that needed a place to stay. So again, we were just 2 married couple with no kids and with a big home. We opened the home up, and our home was never empty, and we didn't even have kids.
Yeah.
So, but we wanted kids, and we had miscarriage after miscarriage, and we still trusted God through our miscarriage. We weren't sure why this is happening, and our 3rd miscarriage, we had. I told my wife, "Look, I'm gonna go have a drive and go have a man-to-man talk with God, like that really can happen, right?"
Mm-hmm.
But I went out got my truck, and I drove for a while, and here I am, 40-something years old, and I am crying to God, and why is He doing this to us? And He knows that we would love a family, because we wanted to share our own kids of His love. While I was talking to him, in this still voice, he was telling me, where were you when I created the stars? And where were you when I created the waters? Why are you questioning me? And so when he was doing that, I was talking to him. He brought to the forefront where I could see them clearly as day, people who stayed at our home. And through that, he was telling me, look, you were never, you wanted family at your home, but I sent you people. Those are my kids. He was telling me those are my kids that are staying at your home.
Oh.
And then I saw that then. I said, wow, well, our home was never empty through these years. And I said, I broke down fine. Okay. You know, my daughters now says, I might say, Delaney, I need you to do this. Okay, Dad. Okay, Dad. So here I am telling God, okay, Dad. And I will worship you still through our storm that we're walking, but knowing that you are walking with us. 2 months later, after our miscarriage, 2 months later, here comes Belen. Here comes the blessing that God is giving us. And of all days, she's born on Father's Day. But I mean, we were just smiling ear to ear when we held her, but I keep telling myself, God, I tell my wife also, I said, God gave Belen to us on Father's Day, but I think He gave it to me because the trust and obedience that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, fine, okay, we're still going to worship you,
Yeah.
even though this is happening to us. You're still our Abba Father.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's Belen. That's a Belen story, but that's also a testimony of God's faithfulness through our trials. We might want something then and now, but God says, in my timing,
Mm-hmm.
you will receive a blessing. And yeah, that's a testimony of Belen, and we love sharing it because we know of families that have struggled uh, 5-10 years, and I tell them, keep your faith and keep trying. The Lord will bless you.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's nothing. That's 5-10 years. Try 20 years, without a child and wanting one. That's Belen's testimony, and I love sharing that to individuals, families, married couples that have a hard time um, trying to have a child. That's a testimony.
That is an amazing testimony. Thank you for sharing it with us. Just you and your wife and the faithfulness that y'all live out, and how you are raising y'all's daughter Belen, and that faith and the legacy of faith. And you and I have had many long conversations in your office, just talking about the difficulties of life and just coming alongside each other. And through when I'm going through struggles, and being able to just sit there and talk to you, and you pour into my life. And it's always been very appreciative on my part, my wife, for you and your wife, whenever we can have those sit down talks with y'all. You mentioned going through 20 years of being without family, and it's such a beautiful thing. Well, 20 years of you looking at it without being without family, but then God changing your perspective and saying, hey, you did have family. I brought you my family to take care of. And
that's right.
And how he said he just whispered to you, where were you when I established the earth? And it definitely reminds me of Job moment, where Job's crying out to God, like, God, just explain yourself to me. And he says, well, where were you at? And I got things under control. Just trust me. And that's such a beautiful thing. It's a difficult thing for us to do, to just say, okay, I yes, you are you are God. And to trust, and just to let go of that control.
It is because as George, as men, we want control. We want to make sure our wives are happy, our family is doing good. We want to make sure that we have everything under control. But in all sense, we're in our mind like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Where am I going to get this from? But if you lay it all out to, hey, this is what's going on. I need your help. Because sometimes it's hard for men to cry out for help. But you have a heavenly Father that can provide all your needs. Um, and then for you, well, men as Christians, as God believers, don't go to that. That would I guess falls harder for us men. That okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? When the answer is Lord, and cry out to Him and says, "This is what I'm going through. Help me make the right decisions." Basically, reveal your plan. Help so I can walk that path instead of walking it blind and with the walking stick, and hopefully I don't hit nothing, on the way. When you can literally say, "Lord, show me your path," and it's hard for sometimes for men to do that. We're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll find a way. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you have to definitely trust the Lord in every perspective that we walk through with our families. Definitely with our families. Financial situations. Is it good to buy this? When well, we have these bills coming up, and if we buy this, that's not going to happen. Sometimes we get that selfishness that, well, I want it anyway. Well, you might want it anyway, but then the bill comes and, oh, shoot, how am I going to pay this? Well, the Lord had provided the means, but you use those means up for your selfishness. And I'm not saying that we do that all the time, but I'll want to say, yeah, I've done that. I bought something that it was a good idea. It was a good plan at that moment. But now looking at the big picture, hey, I shouldn't have did that.
You said God will provide, yet He provides. So often He provides, but we have to be definitely responsible with what He provides us. Be good stewards of that. You mentioned just how living faith out is something that touches every part of our life, from taking care of our children to just taking care of finances, and men leading our homes well. You are your family man, you're a husband, you're a father. You also work with the church through in ministry and wherever they need you. That's one thing I love about you, that you are a servant in, hey, what do you need and what can I do to help you? So you do that, and you're also a business owner. So go with whatever path you want to talk about as far as where you have learned, where your faith has grown, and what God is doing in your life right now.
Well, right now, of course, I'm a small business owner, and this again was something of a prayer that my wife. Well, after Belen was born, my wife wanted to stay home. She been wait. She says, I've been waiting for this job for 20 years, and I have to leave her to go to work. And she said, I don't want to do that. I want to stay home. And I asked God for this child, and I want to take care of my own child. And I knew our financial situation, and I'm like, okay, how's that going to work? And we debated, and I'm saying no, and she's saying yes, and she's crying about it, and here I am crying. I said, no, and she's crying, yes, I want to quit. I sit down and at the kitchen table, and she went to sleep, and here I am, Lord, how are we going to do this? I need you to provide a way, but help me make this decision. God gives us abilities to do things, and we worked a sign business together before, and I love creating. I love making signs, or I love making things and seeing them down the road, and you could say, oh, I made that sign, or oh, I remember making that sign. Man, that was hard, but I love that. And so he revealed that to me. Hey, you like doing this? Let's open a sign business. And so I talked to my wife, and I woke her up that morning. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I can remember, because I don't want to wake her up, because she's gonna be mad. Yeah, wake your wife up at 3 o'clock in the morning for what? So I told her, Cheryl, go ahead and tell your boss that you're gonna be resigning. And she looked at me and said, "You sure?" I said, "Well, no, but God says this can happen." We did. She quit working, and I started a small business. I it's out of my home. I'm like, how am I going? Where am I going to put this? We don't have money to open a storefront or anything. And I remember working for Mike Davis Signs, and his story was I started out in my garage. I said, well, I told Cheryl we're going to start out in the garage. I'll enclose it. I'll enclose half the garage and make a little office and have a table and the equipment I need, and it's going to be fine. Enclose it, and here we are. We are in our 8th year, I guess, and I do have a full-time job, but this is I guess, extra income that the Lord allow us to have. We're blessed to stay busy. I come home, of course, and from work, and we love our daughter. We want to make sure she does her homework, and we provide everything we need to eat dinner. And we all do dinner stuff together. I don't start my work until my daughter is asleep and I have some time with my wife. Sometimes it is a struggle, because especially if you have a lot of work, you come home and you're thinking, okay, I gotta get in and do this stuff. But my family is more important than I guess my work, sort of. That is I decided to do that, and so there is times that I stay up late at night, or there's times that I stay up all night to do a job or jobs that need to go out, and I have to do it. Uh, One is because I want to give my customers the right customer satisfaction, the quality, and in a timely manner. But then you get some that, oh, I need it tomorrow. I say, oh, I don't know. I try to make the customers happy. So there is times that I tell my wife, you have any plans tonight after Belen goes to bed? Because I need some help. And she'll come into my office and help me um, in the business. Uh, for is it demanding? Sometimes it is. I choose to go that route. Well, because it's just extra income. If we need it, and it's there. Um, so that's basically the the story of Larry Signs. You know, um, but it is competitive, because of course you have sign companies that are open, from 8 to 5. They could always go to those. And mine is just, um, when I get it, I hope that I get to you as soon as possible. But keep us busy. And mine is word of mouth. I don't have a billboard sign or anything. I do hand out business cards sometimes if someone asks for it, but a lot of it is you treat your customers right and you give them a fair price. They'll speak about you. But that's also the testimony of a Christian, um, because the fruits that you pour out as a Christian, it shows. Like it or not, just like a business, you might have a business, you might do something bad, and the customer not like it, and they will talk, but just like a Christian, um, a man of God, and you show your fruits daily, and people want to, okay, why is he like that? Why isn't he, getting mad, or, yeah, do we get mad? Of course, but it's a different, we carry it different, I guess. But it's like feathers on a duck. Yeah, stuff comes to us, and we just have to let it flow. But let the Lord take care of it, and He will. Because He is our shield. He is our protector. Not that that's the way that's the way I see it. I This is the way Larry sees it. Um, but yeah, things happen, but because sometimes, no, all the time, because the Lord allows it. Because there's nothing that doesn't happen that He does not allow. So, yeah, that's the business part of the
I love how you said that starting this business, so the realization of starting this business came about from a point of frustration a point of frustration that you and your wife were going through. How she wanted to stay home, and that you were concerned with the financial situation. You, of course, you're wanting to lead your family well and do everything for the best of them. And so often we find ourselves in many of us find ourselves in that hard spot of which involves finances. And just like you said earlier, crying out to the Lord, it's okay for men to just accept that they don't have everything under control and just cry out to the Lord and say, hey, I really need your help there. And how he just reminded you, hey, you like to make signs and you know how to make signs and you're good at making signs. So I already answered your prayer. You just had to look at the gifts I had given you. It reminds me of another friend of mine who always tells me Proverbs 18:16, where it says a man's gifts make room for him. And he always reminds me of that. Anytime I may be going through something that may involve some kind of financial stress, he always tells me, like, look, God has blessed you in this way. Figure out how he has figure out how you can use that to make just a little bit of cash and get through it, and trust in the Lord. And it's so often that God has brought us through so many things and allowed us to go through so many things to where once we get to a point that we do call out to him, he can say, hey, look back and look how I've taken care of you. And look at the gifts and the talents that I've blessed you with, and that's how I'm going to continue taking care of you. And like you said, it's still, even now, you are able to sustain your family through God's gifts and his favor, but it's still hard work. It requires teamwork and just always depending on the Lord and trusting him. And that's one thing that being there when you told me that you were starting the business 8 years ago, and how you said, like you mentioned when you told your wife, when she asked you, are you sure? You said, no, I'm not sure. But God said to do it, so we're going to do it. And
Yeah,
that really does, just in a nutshell, explains kind of how walking in faith happens so often, that we don't have to be sure. But if we have a clear word and vision from God, he says to go do it. You just say, okay, it doesn't make sense to me right now, but
right,
I'm going to go ahead and do it. Not expecting, in this case with the business, not expecting to go and become a millionaire or billionaire, but I'm asking just to take care of my family, and I know that you're going to come through with that,
right.
and trusting, that's just such a beautiful testimony on your part and your wife's part, and trusting God and moving forward. Him seeing the desires of y'all's heart and really saying, look, y'all been so faithful. I just want to spread my goodness and bless y'all.
Right. No, George, it is about trusting, because we don't, like I said, we don't know what the future holds, George.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to trust in God that we know who holds the future.
Amen. Amen.
And I don't know who I heard it from, or where I heard it is, it's so true. And it was talking about horoscopes, and like, why are you looking at the horoscopes? And I remember someone saying, why are you looking at stars when you can praise to the one who made those stars?
Amen.
And I said, that is so true. That is so, trusting the Lord, that's what we put our hope in. But the business part, it's, Lord, I don't know how to start it, but I wasn't nervous, because I knew that he was on my side. Like a boxer needs a manager. You go out to work, and your manager tells you what to do, and that, I guess, boxing aspect. But no, you have to trust the Lord. You have to trust the Lord in everything we do, in everything in life, because without Him, we would be broken and lost. Well, you asked about our ministry. We attend Calvary Baptist in Rosenberg, and our church family has been with us with our miscarriage. We spoke about our miscarriage, and they were with us through our whole miscarriage ordeals. Cheryl and I, we jumped into, I guess, the youth department one time early in our marriage. Again, but here we are with this home, and here we are with youth. And the thing is, at that time we didn't have kids. We didn't have land, but we have a home with a pool. So everybody in spring, in the summer, it was a party house. Everybody wanted to come to, hey, we're going to Lerma's house. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that, but okay. But the thing is, in the winter, there's no one around. And I love the winters. We don't have a house full. But my wife does tell me I get depressed in the winter because I can't go outside and do anything. But anyway, we were with our youth, and they knew that we didn't like our home. Our home was always open. We never liked our home. We come home and hear the high school boys and laying in our living room and bags of chips spread out everywhere. And I'm like, hey guys, I didn't know y'all coming over, but I'm glad y'all here. But that was just some funny stories that our youth were doing. And now we're older. We teach the singles ministry. We have a singles class. We're not single, but we can give them some advice, married advice, and I'm not saying we're perfect. It might be a perfect advice, but it's godly advice.
Amen.
But yeah, we're with the singles class, and we love them. We do things. We bring the land. We go bowling. We go to movies. So we love our church.
That's awesome. Just to have a church family, a family that's going to be alongside you and your wife, like you said, during those difficult times of the miscarriage. And again, just that God provided a family for y'all through the church family. And y'all started out with teenagers. Y'all didn't even go through the whole having toddlers, teenagers, and leaving a mess all over the place.
Yeah, I think we went backwards, didn't we?
So y'all are ready for the teenagers to some degree. Yeah. That's so awesome, Larry. I just thank you so much for sharing. And I know we can spend hours talking, as you and I have spent hours talking about the goodness of God and just his faithfulness. Considering that, would you come back on the show maybe sometime to just talk about life and how things are going?
Definitely. Just give us a ring. We would love to have another conversation.
That'd be awesome. I really appreciate it. Well, again, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for you and your wife, your faithfulness, and just seeing you and having the honor and privilege to know you and your wife has definitely been a blessing. And God has moved me and my wife in certain directions due to the advice that you and your wife have given us. And we really appreciate that, y'all's faithfulness and y'all's friendship.
Well, thank you very much, George, and thank you for our early morning talk. What a blessing.
We don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. Wasn't that a great moment? I think that sentence right there just summarizes the entire conversation. It was all about faithfulness. Larry invited us into his story, into the story of the miscarriages that he and his wife endured, the faithfulness of God blessing them with their daughter, and the faithfulness of God seen in different areas throughout his life. And what is faithfulness? Well, what is faith? Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 tells us, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." And we heard today Larry's conviction and his faith in God. My prayer for you is that you would have that same faith, that you would put your faith in God. I know sometimes it feels like God isn't listening or that God isn't even there. But have faith that he sees you. God sees you. He has not turned a deaf ear to your prayers. He is not blind to your pain and suffering. God sees you. Have faith and wait on the Lord. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Radio Faith. If this episode has been a blessing to you, then please share it on Facebook, Instagram, or text someone about this episode. And if you haven't yet, please go to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen to this podcast and leave us a rating and a review. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and God bless.